Hello and welcome to this conversation in our series of Reconnecting Stories. As the community of Reconnect, we want to let one another and you, dear listener, dear viewer, know who we are as a missional community. We want to say in our own words, what are the things that we value about being part of Reconnect and what keeps us connected to one another and in growing awareness of the presence that some of us call God. We might call these stories woolly because, whilst on their own they might be interesting, it's only when they're knitted together that they create a work of art. A bit like a beautiful, warm, multicoloured blanket which holds us in its soft folds and invites others to draw close. Welcome to our woolly stories.
Well, here we are, the first of our reconnecting stories, or woolly stories, we might like to call them. So welcome to you if you're listening or watching us today, and welcome to Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for being the first one up.
Pleasure.
So we've got a bit of time today just to talk about the things, what it means to us to be part of Reconnect. So Mike, start with an easy one. When you think about being a part of Reconnect, what makes you smile or have a warm feeling?
Yes, my warmth towards Reconnect is that I'm aware of an increasing openness, an increasing acceptance. I'm aware that many people have stories which they bring and live with, which they are bit by bit opening up to each other. My last 18 months has been a very difficult time for me with mental health problems, and I found that again and again, often in contexts where I wasn't looking for that connection, I found somebody or some bodies who just seemed to understand or would give some empathy or recognition of what that part of my story is about, and helped me feel that this was a community that has the scope to listen without closing down to a definition or an acceptance, very much in that open feel. So that's what warms me to that openness.
It looks nice. It looks like a nice place to be.
Sure. Yeah.
And I wonder what brought you into Reconnect?
My wife and I, Julie, I think we joined 7-8 years ago. I don't know. In that I don't know when tells it more of a sort of a sense of time in a way that it doesn't really depend on chronology. It depends on just the amount of friendships and people we've got increasingly open to and entwined with and developing with. And I can't really remember when we started, but it was as a result of coming out of a more prescribed church community. And we were looking for this body of people who could go in discovery and listen and ask questions alongside us.
A sort of way of being?
Yes, very much a way than any prescribed definition of what we are, what necessarily our faith is defined as. It's very much a way. And in that sense, for me, it strips back and back and back and back and back to the very first conversations centering around Jesus's impact and his most subversive idea, which was the thing that happened, and the thing he said just before he was killed was, "I call you friends." And at that point, everything opened and everything collapsed. And there had to be a change. And I think Reconnect has not exclusively, obviously, but Reconnect has within that great loop of time, which goes round and round and round, an echo with that conversation around the table. I call you friends. We don't know what that looks like. We're not going to define it, but that friendship is reciprocal. It's shared. It's nobody on top of anybody else. It's parity.
Equality.
Yeah.
Round the table, I think was
Absolutely.
the word you used.
Round the table, yeah. Yeah, and that, to some extent, that introduces another very strong thread I've appreciated in this last year or so, was the increasing embodiment of diversity, with people being very brave about saying about their own experiences within families that belong to Reconnect, and people's own experience of different life experiences. And that's been a very sustaining thing for me, that we are ready to be open to what diversity shapes us, how it shapes us, and what it looks like, even though we don't know what it's going to look like.
Something about the interplay between different colours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shapes.
Yeah.
Stories.
That's right.
And maybe this is a slightly deeper or different, I don't know, a different question, but I wonder how being a part of Reconnect has changed you.
Yeah. It's made me more likely to follow the uncertains and the questions. Having spent a lifetime of being ready to answer questions, look at questions, I've found a community that's ready to actually hold that, not just something around the edge. It's right at the centre. I believe it's right at the centre in our particular hub where we are, in that part of Poole where I come from. We have that quite at heart of what we're about. And I think that's made me realise the power of the ongoing questions, the power of the ongoing discoveries. That questions don't just have to be answered yes or no, or right or wrong. Questions lead into discoveries, lead into narratives, lead into reminders, lead into conversations and creations which are way beyond anything that we receive as defined by any institution, however powerful or whatever it is, church or state or whatever. So it's not always that comfortable because you never know where it's going.
Yes. But there's a sense of movement.
Yeah, I think so. I think for me it's always a losing as well as a gaining. And as I said at the start, my last 18 months have been a really tough time where I've lost a lot. I feel as though I've lost a lot, but what I've gained is people in my mind on a daily basis that I can call to mind and just know that they would understand how I'm feeling, what quest I'm looking for. I'm looking for love, I'm looking for connection, and somewhere along the line, over a pint or a cup of coffee or down on the beach, I've made that connection with them. And that is resonant in me. It's woven in now, I think, in a way that sustains me in difficult times. Inspires me because I know those people are genuine, and they offer me a genuine open hand.
I was really interested to hear you say something about there's always a letting go and a taking on. I think, I don't know if I'm remembering right, but there's a resonance there with me about death and resurrection all the time. This sort of pattern of the narrative that we live in. You know.
Yeah.
That's part of our reality.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Thank you for all of that. And we wondered maybe just to finish each one of these conversations with a bit of lightness, but the opportunity to say if there were 3 words or an image or a metaphor that might capture for you something of what is Reconnect. I wonder what you might say.
I don't think I could define it or give words around it, but 3 words that come to mind are diverse, open, and accepting,
Mm.
which for me at the moment are really important words to hold together. And of course, there's some of their parts stronger than. So when those three words converse with each other around different contexts, then I think we're doing something really strong and really supportive and creating something really, really good.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. I'm Lucy. I'm ordained. I'm part of the leadership of Reconnect Missional Community, and it's been a real joy to have this time with Mike together today. And I hope you've enjoyed your time with us too. And we'll see you at the next Reconnecting Story conversation. But bye-bye for now.